Welcome back. All right, so I'm going to review the first two games now. It's between the second and third period of Utah and LA, and then I'll review Utah and LA before the games are ready to go for tonight. So, that being said, we're going to start things off with Detroit and Buffalo. It was Lyon versus Luukkonen in this one. Early press by Detroit. We get a power play for Buffalo, which was 0 for 22 coming into tonight. So, well, this afternoon. So, yeah. Thompson has a shot that's kicked aside, and then at 4:04, Buffalo finally gets their first power play goal of the season at Zucker, which is his first goal as a Sabre. Thompson and Dahlin with the assist. So that one's deflected in, and then Tuck gloves one in. I think it was Tuck, anyways. There's right shortly thereafter, Buffalo gloves another puck into the net. It doesn't count. Nobody argued that it should have. Shots are 8-2 for the Sabres at 6 minutes. Sabres press 6.5 minutes in. The Wings, third game in a row where they were badly outshot early on. It didn't stay that way. The shots are... It's weird. They get outshot by 14, and yet I look at that and go, well, it's better than the last couple of games. So, near miss for Thompson next to the net. Berggren's denied as the Wings press a bit, and then at 12 minutes on a tic-tac-toe play during a bad line change for the Wings, Thompson makes him pay. He scores from Peterka and Dahlin, so that's Dahlin's second assist of the day. Thompson's second point of the day, 1 goal, 1 assist. Shots are 14-4 for Buffalo with 6 minutes left, but the Wings would press with 5.5 minutes left, and they would score. At 14:43, DeBrincat puts one in from the slot. Seider and Raymond with the assists. Sabres get a power play not long after. Pretty aggressive penalty kill by the Wings. They do kill that off. McLeod then hits his own crossbar on a tip, so UPL holds on there, and McLeod probably owes him, meal. Wings press to close it out, but yeah, it's 2-1 Buffalo after the first. Second period, Tuck has a shot that deflects just over the net. Thompson has a net drive that's defended. We get a post for Lucas Raymond on a rush. Shots are 4-0 Buffalo at 3 minutes, so another slow start for Detroit. And then at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Thompson with his second of the game. Dahlin and Peterka with the assists. It is 3-1 Buffalo, but not for long. The Wings press to respond, and they do. Rasmussen buries one in close. Seider and Edvinsson with the assists at 3 minutes and 51 seconds, making it 3-2. Wings press at 6 minutes. Seider has a shot that's held. The Sabres press back. The Wings block. Larkin has a slot shot that's held. The Sabres draw a power play. There's an early clear again, and then via a 2-on-1 rush, Raymond scores shorthanded at 11:02. Believe that's his first goal of the season. And so after that, there's a shorthanded rush by Veleno, which finishes that power play. So it's 3-3 at that point. Sabres press with 7 minutes left. Greenway's denied as the Sabres build some momentum. And then there's a face-off win, and at 15:54, Byram has one that deflects off a couple of guys. It goes off Petrie's leg last. Power and Cousins with the assists, so Buffalo gets their lead back. It's 4-3. 107 left. There's a power play for Detroit. DeBrincat misses an empty net, or open net, and so it's 4-3 Buffalo after 2. To start the third period, the Sabres finish the kill. The shots are 2-0 Detroit 4 minutes in as this game really settled in that third period. Not a lot of room out there for either team, which is fine with Buffalo. They have the lead. DeBrincat to Larkin, there's a near miss there. The Wings draw themselves a power play. Early clear, power play gets killed off. Detroit presses after it's done. They're kept to the outside. There's an offensive zone penalty by Larkin, so the Sabres go to the power play. There's an early clear. Peterka fires one wide. Power play's killed off. Shots are 4-3 for the Sabres with 4.5 minutes left, so showing just there's not much room out there. Goalie pull happens for 2:10 left. Patrick Kane hits a post, and then the puck goes the other way, and Quinn with the empty netter at 19:09. So we're that close to a tie game, and instead it is a 5-3 win for Buffalo. They even the record at 4-4-1. Detroit drops to 4-4. Shots on the net, 16-9 Buffalo in the first, 17-12 Buffalo in the second, 6-4 Buffalo in the third. Final shots 39-25 for the Sabres. Power plays Detroit 0 for 2, Buffalo 1 for 4. The hits 14-12 Buffalo. Lions saves 34 out of 38. Luukkonen saves 22 out of 25. All right, and next up, Philadelphia at home against Minnesota. Who saw this one coming? So, I know I made a video on losing streak, right? So, Gustafsson versus Eriksson in this one. Flyers had the early jump, and they scored. It's Couturier from Ristolainen and Konechny at 1:17. This is the first time this season that the Wild allow the first goal in a game. And it's a rebound buried by Couturier. Lauko has a net feed that's picked off, and then at 3:51 on the following rush, Nick Seeler scores. Konechny and Michkov with the assist. That's only the third shot on net for Philly, and they've got 2 goals out of it. Strong forechecking by Philly, and then they just kind of stop playing offense. It was the weirdest thing. Wild press at 9 minutes are kept to the outside. Bogosian has a shot that's tipped wide. Flyers are clogging up the middle. Teams trade turnovers. The Wild press with 7 minutes left. Despite the zone time Minnesota's getting, which is a lot, there's not really much of a path to the Philadelphia net at this stage. We get a power play from Minnesota. There's a blocker save on Kaprizov. The next chance Kaprizov has deflects out. That power play's killed off. The Flyers rush the other way. Things get pushy behind the Flyers net. Wild press since with a minute and a half left, I should say. The Flyers really didn't generate much of anything after that 2-0 goal. In fact, they didn't get a shot for the rest of the period. Like, all right, it's 2-0. We're good. I don't think Torts agreed. Second period, early power play for the Wild. Faber has a shot that's kicked aside. We then get 25 seconds of 5-on-3. The Wild take a timeout before the 5-on-3. It doesn't end up bringing anything to fruition. Boldy can't bury one in close. The Flyers clear it out as now it's down to 5-on-4. Everything gets killed off. The Flyers clear out after that's done. The shots on net are 4-0 Wild at 5 minutes. Understandable because Philly had been killing the penalties so much during that early portion of the period. Cates fires one wide on a rush. The shots are 6-1 for the Wild at 7.5 minutes. So we went over a period in between shots for the Philadelphia Flyers, and you wouldn't know it by looking at the score. Post for Zuccarello on a rush, the Wild press after. Frost misses an open net via a 2-on-1 rush. Faber to Boldy, there's a near miss there as the Wild press. And then at 14:54, it's a tip in front of the net that gets this one in. But Faber gets the goal from Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek at 14:54. Makes it a 2-1 game. And then at 15:26, Foligno scores from Chisholm. So suddenly we have a tie game. The Wild look for the lead, but the Flyers get it back. During a delayed penalty, Michkov scores at 18:16 from Couturier and Tippett. And that's only the 6th shot on goal in the game for Philly, and it's their 3rd goal. And again, Michkov with another. Kid's going to be really good. 50.6 seconds left. There's a power play for the Wild, and they score on it to tie the game again. It is Eriksson Ek from Kaprizov and Boldy at 19:56. He just buries a rebound in close during a cycle, and so that's your score through 2 periods of play. Third period, early press by the Wild. The Flyers press at a minute and a half, and then Foligno tips a point shot from the slot, and he scores from Bogosian and Brodin at 2:17. Wild press for another, but the Flyers end up drawing a power play, and they score on it at home. Konechny from Frost and Tippett at 4:55. He buries this one from the side of the net. Can't boo that. So Philadelphia's power play gets on the board at home. That's their first home power play goal of the season thus far. The Wild press to respond, but the shots are 4-1 Philly at 6 minutes. Flyers press at 6.5 minutes. Eventually they score. At 8:26, it's Couturier from Konechny. So Couturier gets on the board. He had a really good day. Flyers press for another pretty heavy Flyer hits, too, going in at this point, and some cheers from the crowd. The shots are 13-1 for the Flyers with 9 minutes left. At 13:27, Middleton puts one in. It goes off Ersson's glove. I think you need a save there. The assist to Kaprizov, and that one's from the point, too. So, yeah, you probably need a save there from Ersson. Wild press with 4.5 minutes left. Sanheim's denied on a 3-on-2 rush. And then Ristolainen with his first of the season. He buries one that was in the crease. Couturier and Konechny with the assists at 17:36. So Couturier on the board again. With 2:03 left, we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. It was going to be a Minnesota power play, and Zuccarello retaliates and makes it 4-on-4. Don't let the referee make it 4-on-4. He does not want to give a team a power play with 2 minutes left in a 1-goal game. So that means Minnesota has to pull the goalie with 1:55 left. And at 19 minutes, Couturier hits the empty net. Cates and Sanheim with the assists. And here come the hats. It's the hat trick for Couturier. And then Minnesota with a 4-on-3 power play to close. In the end, your score is 7-5 for Philadelphia. They go to 2-5-1 with the win. Minnesota 5-1-2 with the loss. Shots on net, 7-3 Minnesota in the first, 14-3 Minnesota in the second, and then Philadelphia wakes up in the third. They outshoot Minnesota 17-5. Your final shots, 26-23 for Minnesota. Power plays, Minnesota 1 for 4, Philadelphia 1 for 2. The hits, 24-9 Philadelphia. Gustafsson saves 16 out of 22, and Ersson saves 21, I should say, out of 26. So, I'm going to go ahead now and watch the third period of Utah and LA. Finish this video up after that's done. All right, so Utah and LA. Ingram versus Kemper in this one. Spence has a shot that's held as the Kings press. Pretty good pace to start, and honestly, they're pretty good pace throughout the game. Not a ton of whistles. Power play for the Kings. They cycle. Fiala's denied. The rebound's cleared. Power play's killed off. One shot on net. Spence has a shot after that's kicked aside. The shots are 3-0 in favor of the home team, the LA Kings, 4.5 minutes in. There's a press by Utah at 5 minutes. They can't get to the net. There's a near miss for Lee, looking for his first NHL goal. Krause has a one-timer that's saved. There's a press by Utah after that's done. Utah with some more pressure 9 minutes in. Still scoreless, of course. Krause has a rush chance that's blocked. Kempe misses one wide on a net drive. We then get a power play for the Kings, which was drawn by Foegele on a rush, and no penalty shot there, I thought maybe. That power play lasts 7 seconds, becomes a minute and 53 seconds of 4-on-4 instead. Edmondson has a point shot that's saved as the Kings press during that 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off, of course. Spence then has a rush chance that's held. The shots are 8-6 for Utah with 5 minutes left. With 3:36 left, Utah gets power play. There's an early clear. They cycle. Schmaltz has a shot that's saved. It's cleared out. Power play's killed off. Just that one shot on net. Utah would press in the final minute. Again, can they get to the net? The answer is no, and it is scoreless after the first. Second period. There's an early press by the Kings. Utah blocking them to the outside. Press by Utah at 2.5 minutes. Kempe to Kopitar. There's a near miss there. The shots are only 2 apiece, 5 minutes in. Kings draw a power play. There's an early clear. The Kings cycle. It's cleared again. And then Clark. He scores on the power play from Kempe and Fiala at 7:51. That one goes in off Sergachev's stick. Hey, they all count. Utah looks to respond. Strong puck pressure, though, by the Kings. Hayden fires one wide on a rush. Things get pushy on a hold by Kemper. Shots are 6 apiece with 8 minutes left. There's a near miss for Spence on a rush. So Jordan Spence was prominent, just not able to get on the board. But Edmondson does. He buries a rebound in close as LA's pressing to make it 2-0. Kopitar and Byfield with the assists at 13:10. So again, Utah does their best to respond. They're unable to early on. Then there's an offensive zone penalty by Fiala. Utah with a power play. Fiala's taken a lot of penalties early in the season. Question becomes how many of them are valid, whether or not the officials have it out for him. Either way, that power play was killed off. There's an early clear. Utah cycles late. But just after the penalty ends, like 2 seconds after, Keller scores from Sergachev and Schmaltz at 15:56. On that play, the Kings wanted a call they did not get. I believe it was Anderson's stick was knocked out of his hands during that play. Things that get pushy on a hold by Kemper is now it's a 2-1 game for the Kings. Kings press in the final minute. They emerge from the second period up 2-1. Third period, a minute and 9 seconds in, Edmondson scores his second of the game. Kempe and Clark with the assists. That one goes past a screen during an early press. Utah then presses at 2.5 minutes. They can't get to the net. Shots are only 1 apiece at 3.5 minutes, so the Kings did score on their first shot. Foegele to Turcotte near miss. Utah's breaking up passes, but they're not getting the offense. So Utah was doing a good job of keeping LA from getting prime chances, but they weren't getting any offense of their own. Kesselring has a shot that's held as Utah gets some pressure. Kings press at 7.5 minutes. Turcotte has a fast break chance. That's held. And then a net feed is tipped in by Logan Cooley at 9:47. Kesselring and Gunther with the assists. Kind of an out-of-nowhere play, but it makes it 3-2. Utah fights their way back into it. Kings press for a response. Schmaltz can't bury one in close as Utah's looking for the tie. There's an icing with 2:51 left by Utah, which really helped the Kings. The Kings have been basically planted in their own zone for a while, and that gives them a chance to get a needed line change and get a little bit of a breather. Press by LA with 2.5 minutes left. It keeps the goalie pull from happening until there's 1:55 left. There's an icing by LA with 1:40 left. Then with 54.6 seconds left, Utah calls a timeout. In the end, the Kings win this one 3-2. They go to 5-2-2 with back-to-back wins at home now. And for Utah, they're 4-4-1 with the loss. Shots on net, 9-6 Utah in the first, 11-10 LA in the second, 6 apiece in the third. Final shots are 25-23 Utah. Power plays, Utah goes 0 for 3. The Kings 1 for 3. The hits 25-19 LA. Ingram saves 20 out of 23. Kemper saves 23 out of 25. And I'm just going to say it. Utah over the last few games have really come down to earth. And that's probably going to be reflected in tonight's power rankings. So just letting people know. It's been quite the drop. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about the early games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.